We're with Managing Director of K2 Promotions, Tom Loeffler. Now, Tom, Gennady Golovkin's 23 straight knockouts came to a complete halt against Daniel Jacobs. Does that take away the mystique and aura from Golovkin? Because that's one of the selling points, the 23 straight knockouts. You guys are looking to make 24.
His knockout streak came to a halt.
Yeah.
But he still knocked down Danny. You know,
exactly
we have a lot
my
of
point.
respect. We have a lot of respect for Danny. I think he really rose to the occasion. He put on a tremendous fight. You know, a lot of fighters get intimidated when you're on the big stage, Madison Square Garden, HBO pay-per-view. You know, it's shown in over 100 countries. A lot of fighters freeze up under those circumstances. Danny really rose to the occasion. We always knew, you know, throughout the whole press tour, I was trying to explain to people, this is really going to be Gennady's toughest fight. It's clearly the two top middleweights fighting each other. In fact, a lot of champions would have tried to swerve around Danny Jacobs, you know, as a mandatory challenger. Gennady, he fights all of his mandatory obligations as a unified champion. He follows all the rules of the sanctioning bodies, and it's not that easy when you have, you know, all the different titles and the belts that he has. You know, it's a lot to go through, and you know, it was a great matchup, tremendous fight that night. You know, I'm biased, but I think Gennady clearly won the fight, especially with the knockdown, especially pressing the action. But again, you can't take anything away from Danny's performance, because to belittle Gennady, it takes away from Danny's performance, and you can't do that. I think they both showed, you know, the level of talent that they're at. And you know, I was talking to Al, I said, like, when you have the two best guys in the division fighting each other, 9 times out of 10 it doesn't end in a knockout, because their talent level is so evenly matched.
Now, is it a bit of a curse when Gennady possesses that type of knockout power, that boxing IQ? Because the expectations become a little too high among fight fans. They expect to see another knockout. And like you mentioned before, he's fighting the #2 guy in the division, Daniel Jacobs. The guy definitely had the boxing skills, not only to survive, but to box. It's a bit of a knock on the guy.
The curse is my negotiating with other fighters, promoters. When Gennady was knocking everybody out, they were making it sound like it's the last fight. They wanted to have like retirement money to get in the ring with Gennady, and that's why, you know, some of these other fights just weren't able to be made. But Danny was the mandatory. You know, I was able to work out the deal with Al Heyman. We avoided the purse bid, and people were saying there's no way we could work out the deal with each other. And we made it happen, and it turned out to be a fantastic night for the boxing fans.
Now, I know there's a lot of talks about going to Kazakhstan and defending his titles and fighting for the WBO middleweight title with BJ Saunders. Is that fight going to happen? And if so, Oscar's comments saying that this fight shouldn't be taking place because they're talking about a fight in September with Canelo, but there's nothing in writing.
Yeah, we don't have a signed deal with Golden Boy, unfortunately, for a Canelo fight. It's hard to, you know, base Gennady's career on a fight that hasn't even been agreed to yet. At the same time, if there's a way we can make it happen, then we'll certainly try to put that fight together. It's always been Gennady's dream to unify with you know, all the other champions. Billy Joe Saunders has the one title that Gennady's missing. We tried to do that fight last year, and we weren't able to put it together. But, you know, hopefully, if we can make the Canelo fight, if we can make the Saunders fight, I think those are two great fights for Gennady that are out there.
And it's not an easy task for Canelo versus Chavez Jr. Chavez Jr. is going to come in really heavy. What are your thoughts on that fight?
I think Chavez Jr. is a bigger guy than Canelo. I think he's very motivated for that fight. I think even though they brought the weight limit down, I've never really seen a half pound on a fight like that, 164.5, but I guess that's what they agreed to.
Right.
I mean, I guess you're really splitting hairs at that point, but you know, I mean, that was one of the criticisms Canelo's gotten over the last couple of years. It's always been some strange weight limit, 155 or 159 or whatever it was, 157. Then you know what the actual middleweight limit was, but you know, now he's actually fighting heavier than where Golovkin fights. So hopefully, you know, that fight, if he's successful, if Canelo's successful against Chavez, hopefully that fight can be made. You know, and I'm still in regular contact with Eric Gomez, and as I mentioned, if there's you know, whatever we can do on our side to try to make that fight happen, we'll make it happen.
let's talk about the fighter. The reason why we're here, Alexander Usyk, is going to be fighting on April 9th, or April 8th, excuse me. Now, one of the two, or at least one of the greatest cruiserweights in the world at one time was Evander Holyfield. James Toney was another good cruiserweight. Had a short-term stay at that division. Is Usyk looking to become one of the greatest cruiserweights in boxing today?
Absolutely. I mean, when you mentioned James Toney, when he had that great victory over Zhurov, I mean, that was one
back
of the
in 2003.
Classic fights, and I think, in fact, that fight stands out in my mind because I think that was the last cruiserweight fight on premium cable TV here in the United States. But Usyk really has all the tools. He has a tremendous amateur career. He won the Olympic gold medal. He broke Evander's record of winning a world championship in the least amount of fights. He went to Poland to fight Glowacki, who was at that time, he knocked out Marco Huck. He was considered the #1 cruiserweight in the world. So it's very rare to have a guy with so little fights take on such a dangerous fight, especially in. You can imagine the atmosphere in Poland. That's they're a hero over there with Glowacki, and Usyk going over there and taking the title away from him. So that's a huge victory for him.
Talk to us about the talent that Usyk has, because a lot of fight fans were not too pleased with the first HBO appearance. They said he started a little late, started a little slow. I see a lot of talent. I'm excited about the guy. Tell the fight fans why they should tune in on April 8th, because I think he's a tremendous talent.
Look, Usyk's a tremendous talent, but he has a great matchup against Michael Hunter. Michael Hunter's a young guy that's undefeated. Also was a U.S. He went to the Olympics in London representing the U.S. team. And it's very rare. It's a treat for the fans, really, to get a matchup with these two undefeated young guys, so early in their career. So it's a great matchup. It's on a tremendous show with Lomachenko and Gavorstyk. Three top talented Ukrainian fighters. This triple header from HBO probably is one of the most talent-rich, I should say, cards that we've seen in a long time, and Machuno had a very difficult style for any fighter, but for Alexander, his first time here in the United States, Machuno was a southpaw. He was very fast. He would move around a lot, and for Usyk to still get the TKO victory that he did, I mean that's an impressive statement. I think he should shine. Michael Hunter has a more classic style, and should be more conducive to exposing some more of Usyk's skills. Certainly his personality, the way he shines in front of the camera, and we're really looking forward to that matchup.
One of my last questions: can you talk to us about AJ versus Klitschko? That fight's going to be in April. It's going to be a huge event, 90,000 plus fans in the UK.
Yeah, that's when you talk about big fights. That's
a big fight.
That's a massive fight. Yeah, especially. Wembley Stadium, you got two heavyweights, almost identical size, identical structure, identical weight, and they're always in shape. I went to a couple of Anthony's fights over in London, and it's a great atmosphere for him over there. And Vladimir sells out soccer stadiums, and when you got those two forces together, selling out 90,000 seats at Wembley Stadium, it breaks the record for boxing in the UK. And UK is such a tremendous market right now for boxing, so many talented fighters, and that fight's really a top level fight.
Thank you, Tom. Always a pleasure.
All right, Dominic.
Thank you.